going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal. I am joined, as always, on Journal Sports Live weekly show, name still yet to be fully determined, with or by Sean Reider. Sean, how's it going?
Hi, Geoff. How are you today?
Busy. Busy.
That's the life of an NBA insider right there.
It is breaking news on a regular basis on the NBA beat. What can I say? You know, it's the life.
You and Shams and Woj isn't in it anymore, but I'm sure you've leaned on Woj as a confidant.
Woj kind of left a little bit of a space in the
he vacated. Yeah, he vacated the space.
There's
big shoes to fill there.
In the NBA, insiders kind of space, if you will, and I took it. What can I say?
Who better than Geoff Grammer to fill that? I don't think I ever saw Woj report on green chili, though. So I think you've added something new to that realm.
So let me tell you, speaking of, oh, you know what? I didn't update the little note at the bottom. I have the wrong date on the bottom, but I'll fix that while we're talking.
For those who are also just hellaciously confused why we are treating Richie, why we're treating Mr. Geoff Grammer as an NBA insider. Geoff had a phenomenal exclusive story and interview with Mike Brown, of course, the head coach of the NBA champion New York Knicks. It still feels very weird and kind of surreal that actually happened. I have not wrapped my head around that. Anyways, over the weekend, and he got some good green chili bits from Mr. Brown. You should go read that story. Plenty of people have. I was looking at the numbers this morning, so it did well for sure. But
it did fine. It did all right.
Yeah,
for a
humble NBA insider, Geoff Grammer.
For a first interview after an NBA championship, why wouldn't it be the Albuquerque Journal? I did text. I did, by the way, hi Sean, or hi Sean to you too, but I meant hi Richie because I did not say hi as Sean did. But yeah.
I'm looking at your back right now, Narvaez. Taking a sip of that McCafe right there. I'm looking at him right now.
It's exciting. The process of moving.
Richie.
Yes. All right. So let me tell you guys as I'm fixing the date on our little stream thing on the bottom. I think I already did that. Yeah. All right. So I did write a story on Mike Brown. He was awesome enough, and I've said about him before that he really is genuinely one of the cool guys I've gotten to know doing my job through the years. I got to plug this cell phone. I'm telling you, I gotta always keep it plugged in. When you're an NBA insider, it just goes crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I got to know Mike when Elijah Brown was here, and have stayed in touch and stayed close with him since. He once, when he was in the midst of one of his championships as an assistant coach, as the associate head coach rather at Golden State, sent me a text message when he saw me post about my older daughter, then in like third or fourth grade, winning her science fair in elementary school. And he said, make sure you tell her congratulations. I did. She didn't know what. She's like, cool. Okay. So some guy the dad knows named Mike congratulated me. So that's cool. Tell him thanks. She doesn't really know about any of this stuff much at all. Her friends think it's all pretty cool. But anyway, I've stayed in touch with Mike through the years. He last week reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be bringing the Larry O'Brien trophy over to my wife's business. And some of her employees are going to get a chance to take some photos with it. Are you interested in coming by? And if you want to talk a little bit, we can talk. And I said, yeah, okay. Cool. Okay. Because, when you're friends with so many NBA coaches, that stuff happens a lot, So anyway, I thought it was awesome that he reached out to me and gave me that opportunity. And we did. We talked for what I told him to be 10, 15 minutes. Ended up is 90 minutes of just me and him sat there at a table, just kind of shooting the shit a little bit. Watch the language.
Whoa, family-friendly show. Whoa.
Show.
Whoa.
It was awesome. Before that, I know his PR guy, the head of PR at the Knicks, was I think a little nervous as to why Mike Brown, their head coach, hadn't done any interviews and was going to talk to somebody at the Albuquerque Journal. And he said just for his own sort of for his own mind space, do you mind if Geoff talked to me first? And Mike just said, I'll let him know. And I did talk with the PR guy, and he's like, so what do you want? What do you want out of this story? Like, what are you going for? And what's up, Thrifty Game?
Thrifty.
I said, look, man, I'm not going to sit there and pepper him about basketball like too much, right? Like I don't think the Albuquerque Journal is probably the space for that, because I think if he hasn't been doing a whole lot of interviews, that's probably not what he wants to do. I said, but I'm going to ask him some basketball and some about the finals, and I did. I said, but for the most part, I want to prove once and for all that Mike Brown actually lives here and has for several years, and because every time I mention it, nobody seems to believe me when I say he lives here. And the PR guy at the Knicks said, yeah, I don't believe him. Like, he told me, and I didn't believe him either. So, and then he told me later in the conversation, he's like, yeah, and he told me anytime I come out to Albuquerque, he is a place I can stay. He's like, I don't know why I would ever go out to Albuquerque, but
whoa, all right, now.
A lifelong New Yorker, why would he, right? Like, he's been in New York for a long time. But point being, I went out there, hung out with Mike, wrote a story about him. He did mention along the way of that conversation that he is in love not just with Mexican food and new Mexican food, but specifically he is addicted to hot green chili Sadie's salsa. And so I mentioned that in the story. Sadie's yesterday on Facebook. Actually, let me pull it up here. I have it on my screen or on my laptop here. So Sadie's yesterday on its Facebook page posted this. Let me get that out of the way here.
With the pull quote and everything.
So they posted this yesterday that and they did link to the article, which I appreciate. Every time somebody does reference an article, I appreciate the credit and especially the link. I don't know that a whole lot of people link through to the article, but at least giving them the opportunity, I think, is the way to do that.
Yes.
So they Sadie's is now in love with the fact that they got name dropped in the Mike Brown story. And not only that, but I sent this picture that I have up on the screen right now. I sent it to Mike and said, hey, don't know if you saw this or not. Because I guess they did this on Monday. And I saw Mike again on Sunday. Mike did have something, a private sort of get together with like 100 people that were there. It was not entirely exclusive. I wasn't the only one there. It wasn't a private party with just me and like 5 other people.
But as an NBA insider, you expect to be in those rooms, though. I mean,
it's part of the life, really.
Part of the job.
Part of the job. And so on Monday, Sadie's posts this, and I just saw it today, and so I shared it with Mike, and he said his sister-in-law had already sent it to him, but he also said that Sadie's reached out to his agent and asked for his home or for a mailing address because they want to send him a care package. I'm willing to bet what will be in that care package will be an awful lot of green salsa, because who needs more freebies other than the NBA champion head coach of the New York Knicks? So he's probably not going to have to pay for Sadie's green chili salsa ever again.
No, most likely not. Pretty great, though. Great story. Highly recommend everybody goes and reads it, whether you go to abqjournal.com or you click on the link that Sadie's linked back to. Shout out to them.
So there you go. Sean,
hi.
What have you been up to?
We are getting what?
Let's hear some Lobo news. What do you got?
I don't have any major Lobo news right now. This is kind of the last slow week, or somewhat slow. It doesn't feel that slow. Heading into fall camp next week. They start on Wednesday, 8 a.m. I believe. Just kind of getting our ducks in a row for all that. I mean, it's about to take off soon here. I kind of can't believe it's already here, basically. But I was also just kind of dying to get to it not too long ago. So excited to dive in. We're gonna have a lot of content over the weekend and heading into next week and straight on through the season.
Thrifty, thank you. And Richie has a little suggestion. We need to start saying what we're in love with, so we get the sponsorship. Skittles.
I think I'm just in love with like sponsors to begin with.
Yeah, I love sponsors.
I love brands. I just love brands.
So if you're a brand,
please.
If you're a brand, send us your stuff, whatever it is.
We'll take it. We'll plug it. We'll do whatever. What will be the one thing you wouldn't sponsor?
would not sponsor.
Yes. It would be disingenuous if I did Skittles. So
Right.
I could not be up here doing an ad read saying, I just love I don't even know what Skittles really taste like, the fruity taste of Skittles.
Taste the rainbow, Sean. Taste the rainbow.
Yeah, that's right. That's branding. There we go.
Sliced cheese, I guess. I do not like sliced cheese. Don't send me your sliced cheese.
We can't have like Sargentos or whatever. They can't hop in.
I don't like sliced cheese. I don't want to slice
Italian like deli and market. They can't hop in.
Don't put a slice of cheese on my burger, on my sub, on a sandwich of any kind. Not here for it.
Okay.
This is good. This is good stuff.
This is really good stuff. I would not do a Denny's steak sponsorship. I would not do that. Put that one in there as well. Oh my God. Ridiculous. Anyways.
Geoff, do you know if UNM got that $3 million I sent in Venmo? I will check on that. They have not announced it yet, so I kind of think there might have been a hang up there, but I'll double check there for you. And then what about the halftime show? Any progress? Any update on our halftime race? The Central Michigan game, I think, is when it's going to happen, right?
I don't know if the person that would be able to make this happen is watching today, but he might be able to provide you with an update on that if he is watching Thrifty.
He is out of town. Doesn't mean he's not watching, but he is out of town. We are on the World Wide Web, by the way. Worldwide. This isn't an Albuquerque-only show, Sean.
Yeah.
From what I hear, we're big in Michigan.
We are. We're pretty good in Michigan.
Yeah. So, all right, Sean, what else happened this past week? Some other big news that happened was, actually, last night, Roadrunner Little League's junior baseball league team, that's the division right above the majors, which is the main Little League World Series, the 12-year-old majors. But it's all part of Little League, and it's considered Little League World Series. The Roadrunner Little League's junior team swept through the region in Texas, the Southwest Regional, and 3-0. They punched their ticket to the Little League World Series. According to ChatGPT, and I am making sure that you understand that I say that with the understanding that I am not necessarily vouching for the accuracy of this. And I did not put it in my article because I couldn't vouch for it. But the first baseball team from New Mexico to participate in a Little League World Series since 1956 is this team. I don't know that that's true. I do think that only references the kind of premier, the majors division, that 12-year-old division that ESPN always showed the Little League World Series. I think that's what it's in reference to. But that team, a team from Roswell, did participate in the Little League World Series in 1956. So we're on a 60-year anniversary of that. We will be writing about that at some point in the near future. It is possible that this is one of the first, if not the first in 60 years, where a baseball team has represented New Mexico in the Little League World Series. Obviously, it's not the softball's first, because in 2000, I believe it was 13. Somebody on here is going to know was it Eastdale Little League that had the softball team? It was a bunch of girls that played at La Cueva High that won a state championship, including Andrea Howard, who then went on to UNM, played for Team Italy, and she's UNM's all-time home run record hitter. But she won the Little League World Series. Her and her group of teammates in, I believe, 2013 won the Little League, or 2012, something like that, won the Little League World Series for softball at that 12-year-old age group. We do have a comment on here from somebody that I guess we should trust, or at least on air.
Yes,
pretend to trust. But Lucas Pierman, the managing editor at the Albuquerque Journal, the wonderful Albuquerque Journal, and the wonderful Lucas Pierman, says that 1956 team from Roswell didn't just play in the Little League World Series. They won it. Now, he does
the whole dang thing.
He doesn't have an exclamation point there, but I'm going to add it to the read. They won it. All right. So there you go. What else? What else is going on in the world, the wild world of sports? There was an announced men's basketball game yesterday. They signed a contract to play on the eve of Thanksgiving Eve, against Mississippi Valley State. Mississippi Valley State is well known, most famously known in my world, for being the home of one Jerry Rice, the college, the alma mater that is Jerry Rice's alma mater. But he played football, in case you didn't know, and this is a basketball game. In basketball, Mississippi Valley State ranked dead last year in Ken Palm and in the net. And if you want to dig in a little deeper, they have not been in the top 2 or top 300. So there's 365 Division I teams right now. That's been like 340 in this last 20 years, but 2007, so exactly 20 years ago, was the last time they were even in the top 300. This is not a game scheduled because it's going to help anything with the postseason. This is one of the home bye games that schools have, not just UNM. A lot of schools have them, and this is not a great team, but it is now coached by Mike Davis. It will be a better team, I'm guessing. I think it'd be hard. I'd be surprised if it's not a much better team, but we're talking 65 spots. It would have to be 65 spots better in the net and in Ken Palm just to be a top 300 team, which is still a quad 4 game. So this game is a bye game. That's all it is.
Yeah, you said in my world they're known for, and I thought you were going to say being absolutely terrible at basketball, but it's probably not fair to the Demons, the Devils. They're
the Delta Devils.
Delta Devils. Thank you.
They are the Delta Devils. So, Thrifty's asking if we have any big games that haven't been announced. That is not to my knowledge. I think there are 3 games left that they're going to have to announce. 4, I believe, actually. 4 home games left. 3 will be home games. 1, I think they could still get flexible with and maybe do a neutral site. But no, there's nothing that they haven't announced that I know of that would be considered a big game. One of the remaining 3 or 4 home games is going to be a Division II opponent, probably Eastern or Western. I know New Mexico Highlands is not going to be able to play this year, even though Scott Waterman's their head coach. So, that applies for the old rumor mill as well. I don't know of any in the rumor mill either. So there you go. All right, what happened this past week with football? Didn't Jackson get another award?
Yes, oh my gosh, it's kind of a weird name. Let me double check it. It's the AFCA. He was a Good Works nominee. I don't think he won the award, but he was a Good Works nominee, which is a cool award. Let me just make sure I'm getting that correct.
If there's one thing we strive for here is
accuracy.
Right after preparedness, it is accuracy.
Yes. Yes, an All-American on the field, an All-American in the classroom, and now a All-State AFCA Good Works team nominee, Jackson Eck. I believe every team in the conference had a nominee. Good honor. I mean, he's very much deserving, Jackson Eck, I should say, to be on just about every short list you can think of, from All-American to academic All-American and all that. So yes, he is quite deserving to be on another watch list. You
wrote about just this glowing Jackson Eck feature last December that I believe was December. That covered
November, end of November, right there. So
that kind of covered a lot of what Jackson does, not just how he got to UNM and all that, but just that he's a good dude, an all around good dude.
I don't know if that was the focal point of the story, but I will say right here that I've enjoyed all of my interactions with Jackson. I think he's really thoughtful. That story would not have worked if he wasn't as thoughtful and as open, and in some ways a little vulnerable too, as he was in terms of talking with me. That is no small feat. I mean, that's I give kids and athletes a whole lot of credit for doing that. It's not super easy. So a ton of credit to Jackson for that.
Yeah, and I did not mean to suggest the focal point was that he was a good dude, but he is a good dude, and it came across in that article. Draymond Green going back to the Warriors, big NBA news.
Let's go.
It's what I do.
Let's go.
So anyway, I will say that with football about to start, I know soccer released a video the other day or something about their scoreboard intros, and you're starting to see the social medias pick up at UNM. for the fall sports. Volleyball got a commitment yesterday from a local volleyball player. UNM got a commitment for football today. There is some football.
Oh news. Yeah, you did actually ask for news, and I should have mentioned that. But I also, and no offense to a Mr. Bryson Bloom of a certain high school in southern New Mexico, I just was not in love with the idea of maybe you starting the show off singing the fight song. But it's brought up. Bryson Bloom, running back out of Alamogordo High School, committed to UNM today. Class of 27 kid. I will be talking to him in about 90 minutes. Geoff, do you want to take the floor here? Do you want to do a little singing?
I am looking up the video. When I lost my voice.
You lost your voice over that?
Oh man, I couldn't. All these years of me telling James I was going to sing the fight song, I couldn't sing it that night. I lost my voice, so I had to find some help, and that helped.
Oh, I'm being gullible. I am being gullible.
You would think I would have had it queued up, but here it is. You guys are in for a treat. How do I share screen here? Come on now. It's like I haven't shared a screen on this in a while. Extra camera. Oh. This is going great so far.
Yeah, it's just crushing it. But no, I'm excited to talk to Bloom. We'll have a story on him later today. He was just offered last week after I believe he was named the running back MVP at a class of 27 camp. I don't know if it was just a straight class of 27 camp, but he was at a camp at UNM earlier this summer in June. Performed well there. Clearly, caught UNM's attention and ended up being offered last week. He's another notable. Now he's a commitment. He was an offer, but UNM. Oh wait, here we go.
Let me take this off the screen here. All right. So this, I told James Yotis, our prep high school sports guru, that I would go cover the Alamogordo Tiger game this past year when they were at Milne Stadium, and I'd been bugging him for 13 years about singing the fight song after a big win.
Conflict of interest, in my opinion, a little bit of that. I mean, a little bit of a conflict, but
not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. And I hadn't really been able to. Because they hadn't had a lot of big wins in Albuquerque. Finally, they win, and then I lose my voice, so I had to get some help, and here was the help that I got. This is coming right up. All right, final score for Milne. 31 Alamogordo, 20 Albuquerque High. And for 13 years at the Journal, I've been telling James Yotis, look, man, you're getting the Alamogordo fight song sung after a big Alamogordo win. And for 13 years, man, it's been a long time since they've had a big win. And it finally happens tonight. And damn it, if my voice isn't giving out and I just can't sing it. So I asked some guys if they could help me out. Let's see if these guys can help me out a little bit. We didn't do the second through here.
Alamo, forever loyal all the way. We are the Tigers, so brave. Our purpose is to win your faith. We're behind you, stand fast and true. Fight forever, get on Alamo. Fight, fight, fight. Go, Tigers, go, fight, fight. Whoa!
There you go, James.
And the slide tilt to the head at the end. Wow. Grammar masterclass right there. I give a lot of credit to those guys. I don't know. I don't think I even knew like our high school fight song. Like I like nothing is coming to mind right now, and I don't really remember singing it. But
you don't have
those guys. That was well coordinated.
You don't have Tiger Pride.
I don't. I have zero Tiger pride whatsoever.
I'll give them credit for this. They don't know me as much of a legend as I like to think I am. I don't think any one of those players knew who the heck Geoff Grammer was, didn't care about some Albuquerque reporter covering their game. They're in there trying to celebrate, and their coach says, all right, guys, here's what we got to do. Stand still, really quiet, while this guy out here talks in his phone for a couple minutes, and then he's going to come in and you guys sing the fight song. Ready? And you can't tell your coach in high school football no, so they did it. And they sat there patiently while I'm out there talking into my phone about my voice going out.
All right, guys, my voice isn't so good, but I gotta sing.
I
gotta sing this fight song for James Jonas. I give them a lot of credit on that too. Very not easy to just be dead silent and basically stand still after you played a full high school football game. Don't know how many quiet locker rooms I've ever been a part of.
Well, there you go. Alamogordo fight song was sung. Was sang? Was sunged. Let's go with sunged. It was sunged on this show. So, all right. Sean, what do you think UNM football's record will have to be this year to finally crack the AP top 25?
Well, I think there's a chance that it wouldn't just be an end of year thing. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. It will not be, if they start 2-0, it's not going to be, they beat Central Michigan and Mercier. Central Michigan's probably going to be pretty okay. I don't think they're going to win the MAC. Maybe I shouldn't count them out there, but Central Michigan and Mercier, those games are not going to get anybody's attention in the way that, the Michigan game did last year, the UCLA game, certainly in terms of voting and all that. If they did beat Oklahoma and they were 3-0, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying if they did, it's a very, very good Oklahoma team. This is an Oklahoma team that I think they're plus 200. I think that's what I saw yesterday to make the playoff. They should be in the mix, of course. Very expected to be quite good on both sides of the ball. I won't say they 100% will be. If they beat them, I would expect them to probably be like firmly in the mix there to maybe be in the AP top 25. I absolutely would expect them to get votes at that point. If they did not beat Oklahoma and say they kind of rambled through, they beat NMSU and then they went to, oh my gosh. I think it would probably come down to that UNLV game, which is in November. I think that to me, because if they had won all their other games except for Oklahoma and, they beat Hawaii on the road and we're expecting Hawaii to be pretty good. They beat North Dakota State. We're expecting North Dakota State to be pretty good. I would expect that UNLV game, if they ended up beating them, that probably would be the one. And that would put them at, I think after that, they just have, I could have it wrong. I don't have the schedule fully to memory in the way that I would like to hope. I think that's just Wyoming and Air Force left. But yeah, and if it doesn't happen then, I think if they finish the regular season with one loss, or they're kind of maybe the week before, then I think they're going to be in the mix there. I don't think they're going to have nearly as kind of if they beat Minnesota, I know that UNM was disappointed if they wanted to beat Minnesota, obviously to beat another P4 team and, to win a bowl game and all that. But it was going to be very favorable for them to end the season ranked if they did end up knocking off Minnesota in the Rate Bowl. I don't think it's going to be that spot, though, where, it's going to be kind of your one shot is at the end of the season to finish with 10 wins and stuff like that and get that attention. They did get votes, after beating San Diego State.
Well, I would say this, so what Jason Eck has done puts him on a lot of people's radar, at least, right? And that helps a little bit just to be on
100%
radar in general. But it only takes one voter, and I'll bet Jason Eck has a handful of them that like him enough that they're going to pay attention. It only takes one to get them into the others receiving votes. And once you get into the others receiving votes, you have an advantage over. You might be the one team right outside the others receiving votes that every single voter considered at number 26. But if nobody put them in their top 25, you don't receive any votes. It's harder to get in to break that. Once you're a team that receives votes, every voter every week kind of scrolls through the list and says, all right, is there, I think some voters do it a lot more I guess deliberately than others, but like that they will look through the others receiving votes and say, okay, is there anybody I'm forgetting? What are other voters thinking about? Like they just want to make sure they're not missing something. So they pay attention to the others receiving votes quite a bit. And when they know they got a few spots to fill at the back end of their poll, I think a lot of voters start looking at those others receiving votes. So once New Mexico's name is there, then it speeds up a little bit. And I think because of the persona of Jason Eck, I do think that there's a much better chance this year than last year to get there, to break through.
I did have it right. They would be 9-1 if they beat UNLV, so that would be kind of the record there. And then they would have Wyoming and then Air Force as the two final games of the year to go into. Trying to think back to when other Mountain West teams were ranked 2. Obviously, UNLV, a good deal of attention there, but UNLV had kind of an insane resume. I mean, I might be thinking of, I'm thinking of 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago they beat Houston, beat the brakes off Houston. I think in the season opener, they beat Kansas relatively handily. They lost to Syracuse in overtime, like 44-41. So they played a lot of P4 teams to really kind of get some sway with voters there. That's not an opportunity UNM will have. I do think too, I think some voters are probably going to look at whatever team is the kind of the top team in the American and maybe even the Pac-12 if it is a Boise, and they might get some more sway there. But I do think UNM is going to have a real path to be ranked in the top 25. Just got to win the games, and if they don't beat Oklahoma, then they probably will. And I probably shouldn't say they would be like 100% ranked after they beat Oklahoma. I think they would get some good sway, but it's not like Northern Illinois when they beat Notre Dame was not a great Northern Illinois team by any stretch. I think they got some attention that year too, at least in the poll. But I didn't. I don't remember if they actually. No, I think they were ranked. I gotta look it up. But they will have opportunities. That's a long and silly answer. Dog and Dog 11.
I do think there are voters too, because I know this happens in basketball a lot, that sort of keep in mind, look, if you're the best in the American or you're the best in the Mountain West or you're the best in one of these conferences, they kind of tend to even favor at least one of their spots at the back end of the poll being one of those rather than the 8th place SEC team or something like that. As long as they're in the mix as that top group of 6, I guess G6 team, then I think they have a real good shot of breaking the poll sometime this year.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because that's what I did my first year when I voted in the top 25. Like pretty much almost always my 25th spot, and sometimes 24th, maybe 23rd was a G6 team.
All right, Thrifty Gaming wants to know: do student athletes get training for interviews in media? A lot of players do so well in front of the media. Yes and no.
They do, but it's not. I don't know if training is like the right word there.
Well, they certainly get. Well, yeah, it probably is the right word. But not in like, it's not like a class or a formal setting. But like they will get coached up a little bit before they talk. But I will also add this: the people you see getting interviewed most is oftentimes because that's who they keep putting out there because they're good at it. Yeah. If it is an athlete who isn't necessarily all that good at those type of interviews and in those settings, not only do the sports information directors and the coaches probably not want that player out there for the player's sake too, and the player doesn't want to be there probably. The reporters, it's hard for us unless we're going for something really specific with a specific player. Like I'm doing a story on so and so. I don't want a guy up there who's not going to give me a quote that I can use in stories anyway. So it's sort of understood by both journalists and the sports information directors. Put out the people that talk well and that speak well, because that helps everybody involved. So there. Eddie Salazar on X said this. I will jump real quick. He also jumped in on YouTube to say basically the same thing, but added a little to it. And the Bronx Buckeye on YouTube, which I believe is Eddie Salazar, since he said the same thing on X. Bronx born, Buckeye for life, rooting for the Lobos in the Mountain West with an outside shot of the CFP. 3% chance, 97% faith.
Yeah. I would say those numbers are probably still correct. I don't think it's going to take a ton to sway them into a more favorable position, but I do think it's going to be congested for that G6 spot. I'm really interested in seeing what happens with the American, because I think the American will have some very worthy contenders coming out of it, and the Pac-12 too. I mean, Boise State, of course, like they're going to have a pretty nice opportunity to because they play Oregon first game of the year, correct? Or is it just Oregon in the non-conference? First game of the year, yeah. That's a pretty big proving ground. Granted, they didn't do it that 1 year with Genty, and we're still kind of this team is this Boise State team is probably closer to last year's team than it was the team 2 years ago that went to the college football playoff, and last year's team went down to Tampa and got utterly destroyed by USF, if you can remember that. But yeah, I would say those percentages are pretty correct right now. It's definitely an outside shot.
We won't talk Boise much this year since they're not in the same league, but I will give them props for pretty consistently. First of all, being able to schedule is a two-way street. So
it is.
But they got their first 2 weeks are really good, kind of telling type games. In that they are at Oregon and then they host Memphis. So those are two good solid games. I don't think Memphis is necessarily going to be a great team, but Memphis in week 2 is a good game for Boise State.
Well, and I'm thrilled too. I mean, these are some. There are, like you mentioned, Memphis. I mean, their week 0 game, I believe, is UNLV. So I like the high level G6 scheduling there. Those are two really good games that I will be tuned into. Go Bucks too. I grew up an Ohio State fan, so shout out.
You grew up. Why did I never know that?
I've told you this. Yeah, my dad went to Ohio State.
You might have told me that, but why would I listen? Apparently.
So, yeah.
Don't
root for Ohio State anymore, but I mean,
are you sure you grew up an Ohio State fan? Because I don't think I've ever heard that. Interesting.
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to find the Mountain West odds real quick because I thought I saw a move in one of them that I.
Brock's Buckeye made me think of this too. I do think if things click for UNM, the Lobos bandwagon, should be pretty darn congested. I think if they make a lot out of that, if they make the most out of that Oklahoma game, even without maybe winning but showing well in a fashion similar to what they did against Michigan, more people have Jason Eck on their radars than they did before. More people have Jackson Eck on their radars than they did before. And I do think there's a world where UNM could really kind of be a little bit of it, being in maybe a little bit of a people's champ position and all that as well.
People's champion.
Champ in a way that you probably don't, you're probably not seeing that much anymore for a Boise State or like a San Diego State or something like that. But yeah, UNM could be trendy.
I'm going to take one out of order here just since it's about on this topic. Then I'm going to get to your 2 comments here, Nicholas. But Thrifty Gamer said, oh, man, would it be amazing to knock off the Pac-12 for the playoff spot? How about that? Like if it is a Boise State.
Fans would enjoy that, yes.
Yeah, and basically a UNLV or a New Mexico in the Mountain West. Like if the Mountain West and the Pac are the two conferences vying for that spot, and they could have been in the same conference, like I do think there's some interesting storylines if that were to happen, and it could, and it really could. So, all right, Nicholas is in on YouTube and wants to. He's got a football and then a basketball question. We're going to go football first. How short of a leash does Lane have based on last year's performance, and how effective is Lobstein? Correct me.
Lobe.
Earlobe.
Nicholas, that's a good question. I don't know, and I'm hopping in the studio for the first Reiders block in a minute, where I will be talking probably a bit more at length about this. I guess what I would say is, I don't know if I would call it like a leash or anything like that. All indications, as has kind of been noted on this show, is that his and reporting a story I put out last week, all indications are that Lane's elbow is, without saying that it was like 100%, that it's feeling good and in a good spot and all that. That being said, he's going to be on a pitch count during fall camp. He's going to be competing with Lobstein. He's going to be competing with Luke Moga, Toa Fave. So, I mean, Lane is the leader. It is his job to lose. I do think there is I would probably, at this point right now, if I had to like place a wager, I would probably say like Lane is like the safe bet there. But we have to see how this is all going to play out, especially with the pitch count and other guys getting in. Lobstein, I think, is going to be better than he was last fall camp when he competed with Lane for the job. And even then, he ended up taking Lane down to the wire. That being said, though, I think if there is a situation, though, where the elbow was better during fall camp and it gets worn down, during the season and all that, then I think that's something that they might turn, this staff might look at and say, like, look, we might need to make some sort of change and all that. But Lobstein was no doubt extremely effective last year in his kind of role, where he was, clearly more of a run first guy. I am very, very interested to see him during fall camp because I thought it was really interesting. Eck talking about it at media days. He said, Lobstein last year during fall camp, he took Lane down to the wire, but he didn't have any game experience at the FBS level. He played a lot at the JUCO level. He played a lot at the, the D2 level and stuff like that before, but he had never made an FBS, under center appearance in an FBS game. And now he's got all that experience under his belt from last year. And that should absolutely pay dividends. I know he's a guy that, he trained really, really hard, back home, and I believe in Connecticut. And then, he's been training, of course, expecting to get the opportunity that he did end up getting there where he would be able to come back. And, I'm curious to see how he performs because I do think either Moga or Fave will be in the mix. I don't think it's going to be like a 4-person competition all the way through camp. Like there's going to be 2 or 3 that break away. And I would bank that Lane is absolutely one of those 2 or 3. You have this giddy little, what do you got?
I'm going to share something unrelated. So,
okay.
Yeah. My giddy is not related to this.
Yeah. Nicholas, I don't know if it's being looked at it to kind of sum it up. I don't know if leash is the right term there. But he's going to have to still win the job during fall camp. And I think if they are running into injury issues and all that, I would say this quarterback room is better than it was last year. And they have some good options to maybe fill in for him. And this is still a staff that has won a good deal of games and found a lot of success, playing a bunch of different quarterbacks. Last year was kind of an anomaly where Lane was the guy all the way through, at least a starter, they're your primary guy. Of course, you had Lobstein coming in. And I think this staff is probably a little more comfortable with all of the options that they have than maybe last year.
Unrelated, and then I'm going to get to your other question here, Nicholas, in just a second. Unrelated to that, I just saw something. I was skimming the old X feed. ACC media, preseason media poll came out today. Take a look at this. Get that off the screen because I want you to see the very bottom that I'm hiding right now. Picked 17th out of 17 teams is Stanford and a first place vote. Look how many votes they have, first of all. This is 165 first place for Miami. So we're looking at 180 votes. So it only takes one local person, one local media person to vote for any school they want.
Who is local covering Stanford? It's just right? A 247 site. I think that's it. Like the Mercury News or whatever. They don't cover Stanford.
But how in the world can that be? I mean, you can't do that.
I don't know. I mean, this is
you could vote them second and nobody would ever know. You vote them first, people are going to try and find out who you are.
The guy that voted UNLV to win the league in 2023, I give him a ton of credit because he caught a lot of flack at the time.
He's their main play-by-play guy now.
Yeah, and
not at the time.
That's a different deal. Maybe this is more of a.
He was not at the time. He was the local radio guy at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he caught a lot of flack for that. And then they ended up going to the Mountain West Championship game. So it's not always as crazy. Stanford, I don't know. I don't know a ton about Stanford. I have not heard
luck on their
really
side.
Good things. I know Frank Reich is not the interim head coach, but
they have luck on their side, though, don't they?
I would rather we have polls like this with, at least as of now, somewhat absurd votes than no polls at all. That's what I would say.
Wow, sounds like a Mountain West reporter lashing out is what that sounded like. All right, it's enough ACC football talk.
All right, Nicholas, what else we got?
Let's add another one, basketball related. What role do you see Reider Petritis?
So crazy, dude.
And also, do you imagine will be a 10-man rotation compared to last year, closer to 8? I do think the rotation is going to be much bigger this year for a few reasons. One is I think they have better depth this year. I do think they're deeper. And I don't think they will rely just on 2 big men this year. I think they got 5 guys that they will rotate in and out, but some of those guys are 6'7" big men too. So I think they'll play a little bit more small ball, small big, like a 6'7", 6'8" big at the 5 sometimes. And I know that'll scare the heck out of a lot of Lobo fans. And in those games that doesn't work, Lobo fans are going to just call for Eric Olin's head because he doesn't know what he's doing and he doesn't know how to recruit. And then there's going to be games that their offense runs really smooth and the mismatches are going to go in their favor, that nobody's going to say, oh, it's awesome to have a bunch of small guys out there. But when it doesn't work, they will criticize the recruiting then. It's just what he does. It is. He does not emphasize in anything in what he does. Like, he will gladly take a 7-footer as a big man, but the size of your 5 man isn't as much a priority, I guess, as things like what is your rebound percentage, what is your rebound rate when you're on the floor, all those kind of things. And if you could do that at 6'7" and have you're getting 3.5 rebounds a game at 6'7", when you know everyone else on the floor is also at about a 3 rebounds per game or a good defensive rebound rate, then you don't need a 7-footer to change everything else up. So anyway, your question though is about Reider Petritis. I don't know. He swears to me he will be 100% when he plays. If he is 100%, I think he will be a good 25-minute a game guy, which for this team, when I say they have a lot of depth, if you get 25 minutes, you're one of the regulars. You're going to play a lot. I think he's really, really – he fits really well in what Eric Olin wants his bigs, his 4 and 5 to do. So I think his role, if he is fully healthy, is going to be a very key player. I don't know that I think he's going to be fully healthy. I think his injury is pretty significant, his hip injury. I'm not a doctor, and I have no reason to say that other than just this. The injury he had was pretty severe to his hip. I don't know. I have no reason to believe. It's not like anybody's told me or, I've read any reports, anything like that. I have no reason not to believe him, but players say they'll be healthy all the time. So he swears he'll be healthy. And if he is, I think he's going to be a really good player for this team. Also,
Richie,
third time is the charm, but what's our third time? What are we referencing there? What was that?
Is this Richie's third message or of the day? Or
it's 10 minutes ago. What were we talking about 10 minutes ago, Sean? Hurry.
I was yapping about Lane, the schedule, rankings. These shows go by really quick. So,
yeah. Good question. I don't know the answer. So, Geoff, now that Hawaii's a full-time member, will you be traveling to the islands for basketball? I don't fully know the answer to that. I got to tell you, I don't know how worth it would be if it's a weeknight game. If they're playing like on a Tuesday night, for me to fly to Hawaii on a Monday and then fly back out on a Wednesday.
A cool 11 hours. Like it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been to every regular season home game except during COVID for I guess 13 years, because there was the year they went to Puerto Rico. I didn't go to that. There was the year they went to Hawaii, coincidentally, for a tournament that I didn't go to. So, but both of those have been more than a decade. So in the past decade, I've missed one game, and it was because of COVID. So
I will say too, I don't know how much this affects Geoff, because as you mentioned, it might not be even worth it for the that kind of weeknight game model. I was approved to go to Hawaii to cover the UNM Hawaii game today, and I booked my flight hotel already. So that might help Geoff's case a little bit. So
nice. Go Bucks. Go Lobos. That is from the Bronx Buckeye. And by Go Bucks, I'm sure he means Milwaukee, right? Is that what we go for with Go Bucks? Because I'm an NBA guy. I'm laser focused on the NBA.
Locked in, man. Locked in. Ryan Rollins, let's go.
Couldn't get Oregon and Michigan, but beating OU would be the cherry on top.
Yeah, OU would immediately shoot up to the best win, like in program history. Like, I mean, probably, I don't know if it's like the absolutely the best, but like really, really significant. I think this is going to be a better Oklahoma team than the Michigan team that they played last year. This would be that would be a pretty huge coup.
Ryan, who do you see? Ryan sees the two best beat writers somewhere, so I don't know what he's looking at. Tuesday's treating me well, and whoever those beat writers are.
I see one beat writer and one NBA insider. That's what I see.
NBA insider,
yeah.
Slash front page columnist.
Slash front page weekly columnist. Yes, A1 weekly columnist.
By the way, my column this week is on James Kiefner. I've gotten so much feedback on James Kiefner. Like, he's a cool guy. Anyway, I've gotten an awful lot of feedback on James Kiefner, and anybody who knows who James Kiefner, the mayor of Isotopes Park, is, who was once the mayor of Cibola High School. He was a homecoming king at Cibola High School back in the day. If you know James, go read that story. He's an awesome guy, and his family is pretty awesome too.
Thank you, Ryan.
What's up with the assistant coach leaving to Texas State?
So he was an offensive assistant, but this is about Keel McDonald, who was formerly the running backs coach of the Chargers. He joined in, I think, in February, maybe even March. Like, he was not here long at all. He joined as an offensive assistant. He was not paid. He was a volunteer offensive assistant, kind of between jobs. Eck did not coach him directly as a position coach when he was at Idaho. And this is way back, Eck's first stint at Idaho in like 2004 to 2006, I believe. But Keel McDonald was a cornerback on one of those Idaho teams. So they had that connection there. And but this was very much a something in between gigs.
I'll say this real quick.
When I asked Eck about it, hey, this is happening, he said, yes, fired up for him. Like, I'm really happy for him. So this was not something that, like, for Keel McDonald and I think for Jason Eck and all that, it was a little bit of, hey, yeah, you can come in and help out and do all this, but we want to make sure you get another job. So this was not their actual running backs coach, Darius G. Smith, leaving on the eve of the season. This was a different deal.
I'll say this: in college athletics, it happens in basketball and football quite a bit. I'm sure in all the other sports that I just don't know about. Status of a job isn't just about the school to school. Like, there are rankings, unofficial kind of hierarchy rankings. Like in basketball, there's 5 assistant coaches now. Like, there are rankings in that, right? Understood, or sometimes specifically written, depending on the school. It might say assistant 1, assistant 2, assistant 3, all that stuff. We just call them assistants. So you might see an assistant go from New Mexico to Texas State and wonder, like, oh man, that doesn't look good for New Mexico. In this case, it's very obvious. He was an unpaid special assistant kind of position for a paid assistant coach position.
Exactly. With a family to feed and all that as well. So this was, they wanted this to happen sooner rather than later.
And even in the even in the scenarios where it's not just like an unpaid position, sometimes you're the lowest guy on the staff getting paid, just because you might have got added on late or whatever. And coaches sometimes take jobs for 1 year knowing it's only going to be 1 year. And that's all this one was. Fields Report is in. This is a good question. On YouTube, Fields Report is asking, what's the early vibe around President Goldstein so far from an athletic standpoint? Do you get the sense he's committed to investing in Lobo athletics, or is it still too early to tell? I have talked to a couple people about this in the past week, in fact, and the latter there, it's just too early to tell. I get the sense, though, that he has approached this eyes wide open, not naive, not trying to be something he's not. He knows what his resume is, and he knows that he has always been one step removed from athletics. In every administrative role he has had, at every stop he's had, he's never, ever been directly involved in a decision about an athletics department or anything like that. He knows that. He's pretty upfront about that when he's talking to coaches, to administrators, to people around UNM. He also knows how important athletics is. Now, saying you know how important athletics is and saying, and just give me a chance because I've never been in athletics before, but I know how important it is, and I'm looking forward to learning it and all that stuff. He's saying all the right things while readily admitting and openly acknowledging he's not trying to say, look at my resume. I've always been an athletics guy. He is the first guy to tell a lot of people, I've never done this before. Give me a chance to learn it a little bit. I'm all for supporting athletics, but give me a chance to learn a little bit before he's making any decisions. And so we'll see. I don't think we're going to know for a while. I think he's probably of the opinion right now that a lot of the hay's already in the barn right now for this season in terms of money and finances and revenue and budget and stuff like that. So I think he's just going to let this year ride out a little bit and see, okay, well, you guys spent this much on football. Let me watch and see what an investment like that gets us. Let me see what an investment in basketball gets us. And then let me start making the decisions, because I'll tell you what, and in a way that puts pressure on guys like Jason Eck and Eric Olin, because they are getting a good investment in their sports this year. If that investment pays dividends, I think this president is going to be very pro athletics. If those investments don't pay dividends, he might kind of be sent down a track of the rest of his university president kind of tenure here or elsewhere, where I was like, no, my first stop when I dealt with athletics, we put a lot of money into it and it didn't really work out. So
I think that's probably more of because that's probably more of what it boils down to than a president is just inherently pro athletics or not pro athletics to a certain point, because a lot of and I'm thinking about some of the speculation here when there were those kind of town halls with prospective presidential candidates. But I've seen this happen in other schools, and certainly chatter among fans and all that, where it is like, oh, I read his resume, or like I read like a little bit about him, like he doesn't seem pro athletics at all. I don't think anybody really knows that.
Yep, 100%.
I don't think anybody really always knows that. I do think, there's probably there are some presidents out there that you could definitely look at and say, yeah, they've been on the job for 5 years and they certainly have not really helped the athletic department a whole lot. I do think, though, that for a lot of presidents, it is, as Geoff kind of mentioned, there's not always a ton of intersection between athletics and what they were doing previously. When they're in that presidential role, though, that is kind of their first chance to affect athletics. And sometimes it goes perfectly fine, even if they don't have that experience before. So I do think sometimes there's a little bit more of a rush to figure out, what are they going to do with the basketball team or the football team or whatever? And you just have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, I don't think there's any big decisions that he needs to make about athletics anytime in the next several months anyway. So why would he? Thrifty Gaming wants to know, does the marketing director, I believe Casey Byers is who we're referencing here.
No, Brandon, right? Brandon Hurst.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I was Casey came to mind, but you're right. It's Brandon Hurst. I thought this was in reference to Casey leaving earlier in the offseason, right?
Brandon Hurst.
My apologies.
Just announced last week. Brandon did a lot of stuff worth noting too, with the kind of the in-game experience and music and stuff like that. What is the term that Fern always used? Not segmenting or sequencing or scripting.
Scripting of the in-game experience and all.
And Brandon had a big role in that.
Yeah. I think the fair answer there too, to just sort of hedge again, is that we don't know until we see who replaces, how they replace that position. So I think he was good at what he did.
Thrifty, if you are actually referencing Casey, my bad then. But
the Bronx Buckeye wants to say hashtag Nixon 5. How about Nixon 505?
Whoa. Okay.
Little Mike Brown green chili reference, a little 505 reference for the Knicks. New Shams. There we go. Keep that one up there a little long. The Bronx Buckeye, any idea what the patch for the Lobos will be? I talked to Ryan Berryman.
It will not be as big of a deal as what Ohio State got today. And then Notre Dame coming in right after. Golly. But go on, sorry.
What are the numbers there? Help us out.
I think Ohio State is right below 17 million. That's what's been reported. Although I have seen 16 from one reporter, but Thamel had it like 17, and then that is with a JP Morgan Chase patch, and then it is pretty. I'm not anti-jersey patches. I'm probably more anti-circumstances in which universities and athletic departments are spending at such a level where the jersey patches become like kind of a need more than they want. And then Notre Dame, it's even crazier to think about a patch on a Notre Dame jersey as well, if you are kind of that purist type. It's SoFi, and I think that's right around 18. So not much more above. But go on, though, about UNM and prospective jersey patches.
Oh, just that I do think there are some specific conversations being had about that, and I do expect that there will be a jersey patch this season and all that. Nothing that's been announced yet, and I honestly couldn't, even if I had some information right now, which I don't. Well, I guess that's the answer. I don't have the information right now that I'm just deciding to withhold, but I am confident that they have some very specific conversations going on with some people about jersey patches, and I think they'll get something. Wes Henderson's in. What's up, Wes? On YouTube, Geoff, does VAR in soccer count as a drink? 100%, by the way. That's right. It's my self-branded drink, #drink shirt. When they go to the screen or any review, when they don't go to the screen, only upstairs, that's a good question. I think, I don't think they have to go to the screen. If they go upstairs, I think it's a drink. I'm going there. I'm going to drink there. Like I said on X, Sean, great job on G5 Hive.
Thank you, Wes. Appreciate you for watching and also tuning in today.
I will say this. I have not watched it, first of all. I'm sure you did wonderful. But that interview was a well-prepared show, I guess, right? Ahead of time is what I will say about that.
Very, very, very well prepared. Shout out to the G5 Hive. It's better to do interviews with people that like are prepared and want to talk about other things. They sent me a Google Doc ahead of time with a bunch of questions, and I looked at it, and it was
stuff, yeah.
And I've done some like detailed interviews with people that want to talk about like, hey, who's CB3 and CB4, right? Like what's the depth of the linebacker room looking like and all that. They were incredibly prepared. I mean, truly, and they absolutely kind of met me at the level. So I give them a lot of credit. It's even crazier to think that they're doing it for every single G6 program where it's really tough to get that information. There have been times where even league teams, I've struggled to kind of actually get some pretty pertinent information like the week of a game in terms of, hey, where is this guy doing this or yada, yada, yada. So credit to them. Very impressive.
Do we think Owen is gone after this season, regardless of winning or losing? I don't think he's gone 100%, regardless of winning or losing. If he wins big, I think he's gone. I think he sees the future being in the Mountain West, which from a basketball standpoint, it's going to be very hard to get multiple bids out of the Mountain West. If he has success and has a good opportunity next year, I think he goes. I also know that Mountain West being what it is, UNM is going to be one of the best invested in basketball programs out there. So no, I don't think he's gone one way or the other. This is still a very good job. When you are the best in terms of finances, one of the best financed programs in the non-power conference kind of world, you're still in a pretty good spot if you don't get the good power conference gigs. So I think New Mexico is still a pretty good job for him to stay at if he doesn't get the right opportunity. I would venture, if you're asking me one way or the other, I do think he's probably gone after this coming season, but I also think it's because they're going to have some success. Richie's in. One dystopian day, the jerseys will look like a NASCAR stock car full of sponsorships.
Or the fire suits and all that, just a lot of patches. I don't know. It is like Notre Dame having a SoFi patch. Like I'm probably not going to like think about it like when it's like week 6, but like the first time I'm seeing that on TV, I'm going to be a little, oh, that actually went through.
Nicholas wants to know, we're missing 4 non-conference games for basketball. We're talking. What's the rumor mill? Don't know. Other than one of them will be one of their one non-D1 game that they have. Everybody pretty much has one. There will be one of them that's going to be a Western or an Eastern New Mexico. Other than that, I don't know. I wouldn't get my hopes up that it's going to be anything other than a bye game of a bad team. All right. That's all the questions we have in there, Sean.
Wow, we cleaned it up.
Football gets started next week, huh?
Football gets started, as I mentioned earlier, getting going on Wednesday, August 5th. So this is kind of the last quiet week. Not a whole I'll have some stuff out. As I mentioned, I will be talking with Bryson Bloom, who committed earlier today. That story will be out later today.
Go Tigers.
I will have a read on UNM's offensive line. stuff that we kind of talked about at Media Days coming out later this week as well. And I will have some general kind of preview stuff heading out, publishing this weekend, and some stuff going right into camp. But how much are they getting in Norman? That's a really good question. I don't have it off the top of my head, but give me one moment while Geoff fills time.
Yeah, well, so a lot of these, and what's interesting in a lot of these buy games that the Lobo football team gets the money for going to play, some of them were, or last year, was it the Michigan game last year where they got some of that money like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the check last year.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the case for the Oklahoma game or not. But I'll bet you it's in the 1.6 range. 7?
Yeah, so it's 1.6 total, but a partial payment was 250. 250. Thank you. Yes, was made in 2021, or at least by April 1st, 2021. So they're not showing up to Norman. And here's 1.6. Here you go. But yes, they've already had a bit of a partial payment there, but that is the sum. That is one of the higher. I think Auburn was 1.62.
I thought they had a 1.7 somewhere along the way.
I thought they had a 1.7 or a 1. I might be thinking of A&M in 23.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Greg is saying second cash grab in a row. I assume you're referring to cash grab and win, like winning.
With UCLA, yeah.
But yeah, they're going to do a buy game.
They might have been the 1.8.
Yeah, they will do a buy game every year though. They're still in a place where they got to get paid once a year to play somebody.
They absolutely have to, and it is. I do think maybe not for UNM though. Like it is getting to a point though where those two buy game years can be pretty tough. Last year was probably as good as it could have gone in a lot of respects, where they won one of them in a big way
and showed well in both, obviously, because one was a win.
Exactly, and showed well in a really hostile environment. But those, when you double up on that, that does go a long way with the bottom line.
Craig's calling it. The W and the check.
Calling it.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Journal Sports Live. We are going to do this every Tuesday. We've been going at 2, and we'll probably stick with 2 for a little bit. Once the coaches' weekly teleconference, or not teleconference, the coaches' weekly press conference over at UNM starts, this probably is going to shift to more of a 1:30 start time, just a little bit earlier, because those usually go at noon. We don't need to just sit around over there for an extra hour. So these might shift to 1:30. But anyway, look for us every Tuesday afternoon, about 1:30 to 2 to 3, whatever. Tuesday afternoons is the landing spot for this show now. And when we can, we will be here every Tuesday, and we're going to start, as Sean mentioned, rolling out some more podcasts too. Sean's going to get going on the Writer's Block. It sounds like in the next week, huh?
Tomorrow, get back in the stew. So that will be hopefully out by the weekend, or at least the start of next week, to get you ready for a fall camp.
It's here, guys. Exciting times is here, and
we made it. We
made it. Writer's Block is back. We made it.
I don't know if that's what I'm referencing, but we have made it. We are back.
All right, I got to go look into some NBA free agency news, and real quick, Wes Anderson has Auburn was 1.9.
Yeah, Texas A&M, so there we go.
1.6, I think. So
if I was trying to remember, Auburn or A&M, I thought those were I thought those were both the ones that were the higher ones, because the SEC usually pays a good deal better than the Big Ten, but
just means more. It just pays more.
2024, they made a lot of money off Auburn and Arizona. Golly.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. ABQJournal.com is where you can read and follow all of our stuff. And Sean's got plenty of football coming out. It's that time. Thanks for being here, guys. Sean?
Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Grammer, for taking care of all the technical stuff here. And we'll be seeing you next week.
We're going to have a long, awkward pause now as I hit end stream. See you guys. So we're going to have a long, awkward pause here.